Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hometown Mamas. I'm here with Dani. One day, all three of us will be back together. But for right now, we are doing the best we can to record every week. And today we're going to talk about birth stories. And our only perspective is our own right now, obviously. So we're going to share our birth stories. But before we start, I just want to, I know some people probably wonder, like, how do they even have the time to do stuff like this? I feel like the truth is we, we truly have to make the time, a priority, and it's hard. Like today's Andy's birthday, or my day of birth that I gave to her. And we've been celebrating all weekend. Um, but it's so like, and my husband's been great usually about letting me, but like me going and doing this every Sunday. But I still like, if nobody's uh, like, yeah, go do it, you got this. If I get any less than that, I'm like, I feel total mom guilt all the time. Just in general, I think like
Yeah.
with anything, um, and I feel like as a working mom, anytime that I'm not working, I should be spending with them. So I feel like it's even harder to justify, but that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm at. But I think that doing this, like, we have to make ourselves a priority regardless of where we're at, like in this season. Like, this is just something that brings us joy for 45 minutes, and I can't talk myself out of
hmm
things because I'm projecting that people are disappointed in me when that's not even the reality. But that's where I'm at this
You will always find
afternoon.
a way to make yourself feel guilty. I am a stay-at-home mom and I will still make myself feel guilty. I think it's just like the mom in us that is like, we want to do a good job. We want our kids to feel loved and we want them to feel like they're a priority in our lives because they are a priority in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But then for some reason, this like evil little voice in our head is like, if you do anything for yourself, you're a bad mom, which is so
Right.
not true. But it
Mm-hmm.
is really hard to silence that voice.
It is.
I don't know how you do it, but I just tell it to be quieter.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think just like with practice of choosing self-care, and I count this as self-care, it'll get easier. Um,
Yeah.
like I'm in charge of my self-care. Like it's no one else's job to make me go do things. Like I gotta, it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, okay, now that we're just getting real and that's just where we're at. Birth stories. I know this is like a super fun topic for you. It's like you love hearing
I
other people's
love
birth
birth
stories.
stories,
And it's
man.
so hard because we
I
both know
love
each other.
listening to Allie's.
I know. She's incredible. I'd love to know her. Well, we kind of got to hear about her other stories too. And truthfully, well, you've had four now. And I've had two. And we kind of know each other pretty well in that we know each other's typical, like, not typical, but the majority of our birth stories, we have talked about it with each other. But
Yeah.
other people don't know. And
hmm
I think it would be interesting. Like I have some questions, and I think maybe if I interview you, and we can interview each other with things that we don't know about, um, maybe the birth
Sure.
stories. So you've had four vaginal births, correct?
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
And I know they've just kind of have quicker and quicker and quicker. Or do you want
Oh,
to talk about like the speed? Because that's such a it's a, I don't know if it's a myth or whatever we call it, that
yeah.
every birth is faster and faster and faster.
hmm
It's what they tell you. But what's your, like, how did it go for you?
Um, all of mine have just been quick. So I feel like there's not like a super distinct, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people, their first birth is 12 plus hours. And then some people have that like, oh, and my second birth was only 6 hours experience. And that's like, like it's half the time. It's very significantly less time. And things just go smoother the second time for people as you experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have been super duper lucky and blessed that my body just has a real efficient eject button and it's like it's time to go, kids. um but Goldie, my third, was the exception to the rule of like getting quicker and quicker. Technically, if you went Rosa, Levi, Daisy, it has gotten quicker. But Goldie, whoop, she was my longest.
What is your longest,
Surprisingly.
by the way?
Oh
What?
gosh. The longest was, it depends on what you count as labor. I was having like mild contractions from about 6 to 9 p.m. and then, or I guess 6 to 10 p.m. Yeah, 6 to 10 p.m. they were very mild. And then 10 p.m. I was like, okay, I am for sure in active labor now. Like I feel contractions that feel productive and it's starting to like make me breathe through them. But then I delivered her just before 2 a.m. So like 4 to whatever that would be, 4 to 8 hours. So
Okay, and
depending
that's
on how
your
you count it.
longest.
That's the longest labor I've had, yes.
What is your quickest?
Daisy by far, and it was insane.
Dani, I
Her,
followed you on Find My Friends app. I followed that little dot. I mean, it was the middle of the night, I think, and I just
yeah, it
happened to be awake
was
with Isla,
with
and you
Isla.
talked about like I think like, and I was like, "There's, of course, it's happening," and gosh, I was like, "Go Josh, go Josh, go Josh," because you would, I felt like you would have very much had a similar experience to Allie
Yes,
if anything
yes.
had gone differently.
So we'll backtrack. I had passed a kidney stone a couple days before that, and I was super paranoid that more was to come because I had to get that ultrasound that told me I had more. And I didn't really understand kidney stones, and so I thought, since they're in my kidneys, they're just gonna come out of me, and it was super painful. And I was like, I don't want to go through that right now. And so I woke up and I had a bit of a bellyache, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is not happening again. I do not want another kidney stone. And then I had a couple of 15-minute apart contractions. But, that kind of happens at the end of pregnancy. You have these like
Mhm.
random sporadic contractions. So I didn't think anything of it. And I was texting you guys and I was like, guys, I'm just so in my head. I can't tell if this is just like baby contractions or if like this is like my body reacting to another kidney stone. And I was all up in my head. And Sarah was like, Dani, I think you are going to go into labor. And she was right. She was not wrong. And very like, oh my golly, my body usually cleans house. I just have diarrhea before, and I should have known. I should have known that that's what was happening to me, and I was going to go into labor. But I think I just get in denial every time. Especially, I was 36 weeks and 6 days, so that felt really early. And so I am like washing my hands after using the bathroom, and it had only been 5 minutes since the last contraction, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was just kind of like minding my business, walking around, just seeing how things did. 5 minutes again. And I was like, you know what? Let me just put my stuff in my hospital bag, which I packed, golly, like 6 hours before that. I packed at 10 p.m. the night before because I was like, I should really do this. Anyways, I think it was like that instinct. Your brain like
Mhm.
knows. Anyways, so then I had 2 5-minute apart contractions straight to 2.5 minutes. And I am in disbelief that this is happening this quickly. But then again, 2.5 minutes. So then I screenshotted it and sent it to Sarah. And I was like, guys, this is what precipitous labor looks like. It is unreal how quickly things just like turn in your body. And so I very quickly woke Josh up and like probably after the second contraction that was 2.5 minutes apart, like I was having to groan through them. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I am in transition. This is for real, for real. So then I started to get a little panicky and I started shaking, and that's the labor shakes. And I was like, oh my Lord above, if I do not leave now, I'm going to have a baby at home or worse in a car. Sorry, Ellie. I do not want to have a baby in a car. I don't know why. It freaks me
You're
out.
allowed to have that.
It seems like too much going on. Anyways, so I wake up Josh. I'm like, babe, we got to go. I'm having a baby. And he's like, poor, bless him. From the time I woke him up to the time a baby came out of me was less than an hour. I don't think he was fully awake when Daisy was born. He just rolled with it. He was like, "What do you need? What do you need? You want me to call your mom?" And I was like, "We don't have time for my mom." My brother-in-law was living in the basement, and so I was like, "Go run the monitor down to Mike. Wake him up." We tried calling him, he didn't answer. I was like, "Just wake him up. Run in his room. Throw the monitor at him. Tell him we have to go." So Josh does that. He pulls the car up. We get in the car, and at this point, Sarah's like, "Dani, you need to wake Josh up. You need to go." And I'm like, "We're going. We're leaving now." And Sarah's watching me. Anyways, we drove like the wind. I'm like, we're calling the ER, like, we're coming.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my wife's fourth baby, and she says it's happening fast. And so we get there, and she's born within 20 minutes. But when we got there, they're all laughing because they're like, "Yeah, when your husband called, we were like, do we really think this is like a precipitous labor, or like sometimes they come in and it's nothing actually." And so they were like, we were kind of placing bets, but then he said it was the fourth, so we were like, let's get ready. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, "You were not lying, my friend." I was like, "I was not lying." um
I'm the one who gives them all the false alarms. Like,
you went through a lot, Sarah. Okay, you deserved to go and get checked.
uh, and
We'll get there.
anyways, but like that, I'm glad that, oh my God, they were ready, and they should have known. They should have looked you up, and they would have been like, oh yeah, because they
I
prepared
know.
you for car bursts before.
Yes. I've
Yeah.
gotten rundowns from my midwife. Like, this is what you need to bring with you just in case. So we did. We
Mm-hmm.
packed towels, and I sat on a towel because I was really nervous my water was going to break in the car. Just because
Oh, and it
um
didn't. It didn't, right?
it
Okay.
didn't. No, my
Okay.
water breaks less than 5 minutes before a baby comes out. Every single time. It
Wow.
breaks, and then a baby's out of me. It's crazy. Um so with Daisy, the contractions were just very forceful. Like, so sorry for men that are listening. If there is, probably not
It's
any
fine.
men,
They're
but
not.
like, I could feel myself like dilating. I don't know how to explain it. It was like I could feel her head descending. It was very intense, a very
Wow.
intense labor, and just very fast. So yes, so from the time that, golly, like those 5 minute contractions hit, and I had her, couldn't have been more than what, like an hour and a half. I mean, the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
from when I woke up to her being born was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
is,
think it
I
was like,
mean,
I mean, it was crazy. It was a very surreal experience. And I was in between contractions sobbing to the nurses. They were so sweet. And I was like, "This is the best baby that's gonna happen, or have this baby." And like, "This is the last time I'll be pregnant, and I wasn't ready for that." And they were just like so sweet with me. I was very emotional because it was all just happening
you didn't
sooner
have
and
any time to
faster.
process anything.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
lot. No one knew I had the baby except for Sarah. Because
that's because Isla didn't sleep for like the first year of her life. So I was up and I was ready.
Sarah was there for the drama.
I
My
loved it.
mom
I
didn't
loved every
know, my
second.
sister,
Mm-hmm.
no one. By the time we called everybody, like the hospital, let them know we were coming, we were almost there. And Josh was like, "Do you want to call your mom?" And I was like, "At this point, let's just, like, I just need to focus."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I don't want to talk to anybody right now." And then, bada bing, bada boom, I got to FaceTime my mom with a baby in my arms. And it was the funniest. I regret so much that I did not screen record it, because she answers the phone and her immediate reaction was, "Danielle Marie Cooper."
What have
Loved
you
it.
done?
It was the most mom answer, like, response
Uh-huh.
ever. Ah, it was good.
Aw,
But
that's
yes, that
sweet.
was sweet baby Daisy. That was a very dramatic birth she gave me.
So, and we have very different experiences all around, but you have, I know when you had Rosa, that was
Mm-hmm.
a quick for your first one, and you have, the first one is a total m- like, I don't even know. Yeah, like a mind fuck, because you just don't know what you're expecting.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And
so
you can go to all the classes, but it's not going to do what they say, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I know if I remember correctly, you were never against like getting an epidural. You were just like, no, that
No.
sounds great. But you
Mm-hmm.
never had the chance with Rosa, right?
Right. The only one I had enough time to get an epidural with was Goldie, but she was my third, and I knew what was going on. And I was like,
Yeah.
I ended up getting the like IV just in case or whatever.
Mhm.
But we made it through. It was smooth sailing. It was a very like uneventful birth for Goldie. So I didn't end up electing to get one. But with Rosa, I very much was like, if this hurts, we're getting the epidural. I'm not trying
Mhm.
to, be groaning and mumbling for 12 hours.
Mhm.
God bless the women who go through natural labor for 12 hours plus.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah, that didn't happen. Hers, I think that people, when they heard that birth story, I got a lot of responses of, wow, you're so lucky. And yes, I was lucky because it was a very uneventful birth in the sense of like, it was a healthy delivery. Everything went very smoothly, but it was mildly traumatic to go through that for your first birth because
Can you explain your first birth again? Because it's been a while since
yes,
I've heard it.
yeah,
And why it
yes.
felt kind of traumatic. Yeah.
Rose's birth was about 3.5 hours long from like first contraction to
Which is
birth.
still so fast.
Oh my golly, especially for a first birth. And so like
Yeah.
again that like for the first there was no time to process what was happening.
Mhm.
I remember feeling I needed to go to the bathroom and I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like, gosh, this is like awful bellyache. And I'm texting my sister and I'm like, dude, I have the worst bellyache ever. I mean, we were very candid with each other. I'm like, I have
Mhm.
diarrhea. This is
Yeah.
crazy. And then it dawns on me that the bellyache is rhythmic. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I think these are contractions. And so then I'm checking, I'm like, I might be in labor. Oh my gosh, I might be in labor. And it gets to the point where I'm starting, I'm like, like I'm grunting through them because my belly hurts so bad. I'm like, Josh, like I think I'm in labor and I don't know when we go to the hospital. Like this isn't what they said it would be. It's like this seems like they're only, I guess at that point it was like 5 minutes apart. They're only 5 minutes apart and like they said it would start like way more sporadic. And they said once they get to like 4 to 5 minutes apart for an hour, you should go to the hospital. But it's been like this for an hour. And what do we do? And so he's like, let me call my mom. So he calls his
Not
mom
like
and I'm in
how
the
many how many babies has Miss Bailey had?
she has delivered 10 babies.
Oh
Okay.
wow. Mhm.
So she knows what she's talking about. And I'm in the background, full on. Oh, no shame when you're in labor. You do not
Mm-mm.
care. And she's like, Josh, judging by the sounds of your wife, I think you should take her to the hospital. And he's like, okay, cool, cool. And she's like, now listen, if you go, you probably aren't going to leave. So, like, make sure that you have what you need. And, like, do you need to take a shower? And so, I kid you not, this fool took a shower.
Oh no.
He did. And he denies it. He will deny it. He still to this day is
Was
like,
he
dang,
like
I don't
black?
think
He
I
was
should.
like blacked out in the shower, not realizing what was
I
happening.
brought
He's
it
like,
up
my
to him.
mom
I
told
made
me I
fun of
should
him.
shower.
Because that's exactly what happened. He literally got off the phone and goes, all right, she said we should go to the hospital. But she also said that like I should probably shower. Because like we'll be there for a few days and like, do you want to shower? And I was like, no, I don't want to do anything right now. I'm like crawling on the floor. I'm literally crawling on the floor to go get my bag. And like, because I cannot, like, I was struggling. I didn't do anything to prep for this kind of labor. I thought I'd be at the hospital getting an epidural at this point in labor. It was, it was comical. And so he takes a shower, proceeds to say, should I shave?
Oh
Shaves,
no,
Sarah. He said,
Joshy.
shaves.
He showered
I'm
and
not,
shaved while you're on
he
all
showered and
fours.
shaved. Oh man. So then I'm like, I'm gonna throw up, all the things,
Mhm.
all the
Mhm.
feelings you get. And so finally I make it down the stairs and he throws everything in the car and he pulls, I've got my like trash bucket in case I vomit and we're sitting in the car. It was the worst ride of my life. That's also something no one prepared me for is, at that point I was in transition. When I got to the hospital, I was 9 centimeters and those contractions are just so horrifically painful. And every bump you hit in the road, it just feels like a human trying to just, like fall through you. It's awful. Anyways, that's what I do remember. Okay, so then we get to the hospital. I'm like, I need an epidural right now. Please, please give me the epidural. And they're like, okay, like sweetie, let's like, what baby is this? I'm like, it's my first. And they're like, okay, well, let's see if you're really in labor. And so I'm like, if they send me home, Josh, I refuse to go. I will
Mhm.
refuse to leave this hospital. And then she checks me and she's like, oh, sweetie, you aren't getting an epidural right now. And I was like, what? I thought I was like, she was going to say, oh, you're not even dilated or something like that. And she was like, you're 9 centimeters. You're going to go have this baby. We need to get you in a room now. And I just like looked at Josh, and poor sweet Josh, his face was like, I'm sorry, people
Yeah.
can't see if they're listening to this and not watching it, but he was just dumbfounded. We both stared at
Mhm.
each other dumbfounded, like this is not what's supposed to happen. So anyways, from that, it's a blur of getting into a room and people taking blood, and my sweet nurse, who is now a midwife,
Yep.
her name is
Yep. Shout out
Megan.
to Megan. Yep.
Megan, I did not like you at first, and then you ended up being the best thing ever. She was like, we're going to do this. She was real peppy. You're going to have a great birth, and it's going to be magical. And I was like, this is the worst day of my life. And I'm like, I have to poop. Or no, I was like, I have to pee. I have to pee. Let me go sit on the toilet. So I tried to sit on the toilet. Nothing is coming out. I think it was the feeling of my water needing breaks, because
Mhm.
then my water breaks. Freaking National Geographic. I was not prepared. The birthing classes, they're like, the things you see on the TV are not going to happen. It's going to trickle. No. Full on giving birth to a giraffe in the Serengeti. Just. Oh my gosh. And I like looked at my nurse and she's like, again, she's like, she's so excited for what's going on. And I was like, what just happened to me? That was foul. And she's like, I was like, okay, now I feel like I need to poop. And she's like, oh, we got to get you to the bed now. And she like
Oh,
moves me over
she's
to the bed.
pumped. Mhm.
She's bummed. Yes. Anyways, and then came the pushing part. And this is where she became my sweet, sweet angel of a nurse, because she taught me how to push.
Mhm.
And pushing is my favorite part because it means it's almost over and you're getting it done. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It feels
Mhm.
productive, like you're doing something with that pain, and
You're
it's
doing
no
something to
longer.
end the pain. Yeah, is what
Yes,
it probably felt
exactly.
like to you because it so goes so
Yes.
fast. Yeah.
When you're not able to push, you're just like enduring it until it is time to push, and you
Yeah.
don't know when that time is going to come. And so when it was time to push, I was like, oh thank God, okay. But then I didn't know how, and she taught me. She was like, you gotta chin to chest and grunt. She said, you gotta stop making that noise, just grunt. And hold your breath a little bit. And by golly, it was like as soon as I did that, I felt that baby coming down, and I was like, oh, this is how we get this over with. So from there, honestly, again, just really blessed that Rosa she came right on out,
Sweet
and it
little.
was beautiful, and it was a very emotional moment. Just because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a mom. This is happening. I
Mhm.
have a baby on my chest. I'm a mom. So that was a very, once again, surreal moment when Rosa was born, but a really sweet, tender memory.
Yeah.
So,
And we always talk about like because now that we the rest of us have kids, none of us have ever gone that fast for any um and that's unique, but your body's consistent in what it does, which is which
yeah,
Allie was
I'm
talking
really
about
grateful
how
for.
pain, a lot of the pain is fear based, and I could see that because as you have gone on, you know what to expect. So that fear
Hmm.
aspect of like, okay, this is
Hmm.
normal. This is what happens next. This
Hmm.
has to have contributed to how you're able to have like 3 more unmedicated births, I would assume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I think, and I remember her saying that, and it resonated with me so
Mhm.
much. But yes, it is the fear of the next contraction, which is something I have struggled with each time, of telling myself, like, you can't be tense and fear it. You just have to know that you're going to get through it.
Mhm.
But it is very easy to hit that point where it is so painful, and you've had, your little like minute in between, and the next one's about to start, or like when you feel it coming on. I'm sure Josh can recall me saying, even to the last birth, like, I don't want another one to start, and then it goes, and you just got to get through it.
because they're
But the
long.
first,
They're
they
like
are.
that's
I will
like
say
I
Goldie's
yeah.
birth, gosh, those were long contractions. I was sitting up, like, you watch the thingy, and they
Yep.
would be up off the charts for minutes at a time. Just, it was like my body wasn't coming down from those contractions. And that was horrible.
Yeah.
Torture.
It's
But
torture.
it's okay.
But it's
You
like
survive.
you get yeah. And I so I guess well I'm trying to think of where I wanted to go next. Cuz I was going to ask you how I'll ask you one more question with Levi because you had Levi during COVID.
Yeah.
And I have seen a lot of lingering trauma for moms with that, with even maybe
Mm-hmm.
not even the birth experience itself and maybe some, but like even like I know you've talked about that first year of like just thinking your baby like you can't go anywhere. But I'm curious with Levi, was Josh able to be with you?
He was, thank God. Yeah. He missed all the like appointments and stuff.
So he couldn't come to the appointments, correct?
No, which was okay. I mean, it stinks, but
I
it
feel
was what
like
it was.
it would hurt worse if it was your first and they couldn't come.
Yes,
I
and
think
you
so.
know what?
Yeah.
I had that perspective the whole time. I kept like
Yeah.
telling Josh, I was like, I'm just really grateful that this is not our first baby because I knew so many
Mhm.
people that were going through it with their first babies. And that like broke my heart because, Josh came to so many appointments with Rosa.
Mhm.
It's so exciting with your first and everything is so new and you're nervous and it's so nice to have your partner there for those
Yeah, because
experiences.
sometimes you don't get good news at appointments,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
to
And that
have
was
to go
one
through that. Yeah.
conversation we had was if we don't get good news at this appointment, how do we handle that? But praise the Lord, everything was good through the pregnancy and then he was able to be there for birth.
Mhm.
Levi's he was my second fastest. He was about 2.5 hours and, uh, he was the quickest from getting to the hospital to being born. It was 11 minutes exactly. And
Holy
Josh just barely made it up. I like remember my water breaking and looking at a nurse because like I knew with Rosa, it wasn't long after that. I was like, is my husband going to be here in time? And she was like, don't worry about that right now. Have your baby and we will get him here. And I was like, okay. And I'm like pushing and I just like looked up and he was there and I was like, oh, look, there's Josh.
Praise the
So
Lord.
gosh, I don't even know if he held a leg during Levi's birth. I think the nurses did because he came in and like I think he just was like came by my head and was just cheering me on. I don't even think yeah, it was really fast. It's like that was a
Yeah.
very much a blur of a birth. But yeah, he was there and it was a very quiet experience in the hospital afterwards because no one could visit and everything is like low contact so you're just not having like interacting with as many people. Um so it was very peaceful in a way, which was nice.
Yeah.
Everything afterwards was not peaceful with my mental health, so that was not great.
Right.
But our hospital experience was actually was really nice.
I like I for both Andy and I didn't have anybody. Um. Well, I don't think I had anybody visit me, either of
Hmm.
us. With Andy was easier. It was like closer to COVID, so that was like a way to say that. But there's something so special about it just being. I mean, you're already vulnerable. You just like you feel disgusting.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
are bleeding. You are like, and then I didn't realize how invasive it can feel for people to just assume
Yeah,
that they have the right to come see you immediately after that baby is born. So I
hmm,
think having the boundary, I mean, luckily I had wonderful friends and family who understood that. Like
yeah,
they didn't even push it at all. But I think that's a really hard conversation to have if you
it
don't.
is.
And some people just avoid
Absolutely.
it and they just accept it. They're like, yeah, sure.
I think some great advice for visiting new moms, if you are visiting, is to not stay too long, which I made that mistake before I had kids of visiting for way too long with someone who had a baby. And I like look back and I feel so bad because I was like, wow, I probably made them feel uncomfortable because they were probably like, gosh, can you leave? I'm so uncomfortable and I just want to
Yeah,
rest,
I think I did that too, but like I didn't even realize.
You don't
Sometimes you just
know.
don't know.
Yeah. But so not lingering too long. Cause like, with Rosa, we had a ton of visitors. She was our first. It was very exciting, blah, blah, blah. With Daisy, we had a decent amount of visitors as well, which was fine with me. It was just anytime anyone stayed for too long, I need to use the bathroom, and that is a whole ordeal trying to get up. You've got giant pads and you're wearing gowns and you're leaking from every orifice and you're sore. I don't know. You don't want to get up while people are there really because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's not cute. I don't
No,
know how else to say
no.
it. You just
I'm
feel gross.
pretty sure your
Ugh,
ass is hanging out. You're probably
it
dripping
is.
blood. Like,
Got your granny panty mesh undies on.
oh no, your titties are probably like this, like just
Yes.
peeping out of everywhere.
Yeah, you don't know if you've bled out onto the bed this time. Like, who knows?
No, it's
I
embarrassing. I mean, yeah, it's too much. Too much.
Yes, I call them jellyfishes. You know when you feel like you've passed a clot.
Oh God.
You know what I call it a jellyfish. I'll look at Josh and be like, "Oh gosh, another jellyfish."
That's a cute way to put it.
But
Oh, that's so
golly, like
gross.
someone is there and you're talking and looking them in the eyes as a jellyfish slides out of you is just the worst experience ever. It's so bad. Oh. So if you're going to visit your friends and just don't stay for super long. Always bring something. Always bring something for mama. You can bring something for baby too, but always bring
Mm-hmm.
something for mama. And then just don't stay too long. Just enough time to congratulate them, tell them
Mm-hmm.
you're proud of them, get a little peek at that cute baby, and then let them rest.
Let them pass those jellyfish in peace.
Jellyfish in peace, man. Okay. Also, some women are so squeamish about nurse. Sorry, that's a bad way of putting it. Are self conscious about not wanting anybody to see them while they're nursing, which rightfully so.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Some people, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of
it's
like
very
that.
uncomfortable for
Yeah.
people,
Mhm.
and you're trying to keep up with the baby's schedule when they're
Mhm.
that little, and so you don't know if where they're at in their schedule, and if they're like, "Gosh, I needed to nurse 15 minutes ago, and you're still here, and I really don't
Mhm.
want you to watch me do this." And you could, I feel like some people will be like, well, that's on the mom to just tell people you need to leave. And I'm like, that's an uncomfortable thing to do. You shouldn't put that
Yeah,
on the mom. She's already dealing with enough, you know?
I know. Let's
Anyways,
take as much away from the mom having to do that. Yeah, for sure. I think that's a
yeah.
good job for the men, being like, "Oh, baby needs to eat, so wrap it up,"
Ooh,
but in a
Sarah, I
nice
love that
way.
advice.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Mhm. Because it's leaves it, it takes it off of you. So I think that's good.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
some people do it naturally, but I think that's a good way to get past that.
Hmm.
But man.
Yeah. Anyways, so that, that is
Oh, I have one
all
more
my
question.
babies.
So, as far as how far, I think Daisy came. Wait, no. Can you talk about how your gestation age for each one?
Sure. Yeah. Rosa came at 38 weeks and 2 days. Which was, on the early side for a first baby, which is also, I was surprised that I was having a baby at 38 weeks. Levi was 37 and 2. Yeah, 37
Mhm.
and 2. Um, Goldie was my longest. She almost made it to 39 weeks, which is crazy. She was 38 and 5. And then Sweet Daisy Baby came at 36 and 6.
I know that you were a little stressed about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was intimidating. I usually, because I'm just going to be really candid on here. Levi came out we got him out the same way we got him in. That is for sure what sparked labor at 37 weeks and 2 days.
Oh. Oh wait, yeah, that makes
Same.
sense. Uh huh.
And so after that, I was like, once we hit a certain gestation, I was like, no more funny business. You don't
Uh
touch
huh.
me until we're fully cooked baby because I was so nervous about preterm labor. But Daisy, she didn't care. I didn't do anything, I swear, to provoke labor. It's not like I was going for long walks or eating anything special. No sex, nothing. It was just,
No,
she
of
just
course
was
not.
destined to come then.
And I
So,
can still feel like you feel almost like a sense of responsibility for how long you carry your child, but you really
yeah.
don't have that control. And I feel like moms who have babies in the NICU, whose babies come at anywhere from 22 to 35 weeks or 36 weeks, that guilt of feeling like it was their fault in any
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
It's got to feel awful. Um,
Yeah. I mean, gosh, I can't speak to like even a Nikki stay because
yeah.
we've been very blessed that we avoided that with Daisy. Um, but yeah, even with her being considered a preemie, she was like, I did feel like this sense of like, what did I do to like have her this early? Why couldn't like we wait just like a little bit longer,
I
so
didn't
she'd
even
be a little
think
bit
that you
bigger.
felt that way. Yeah. I mean, I know you're,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's something I always
yeah.
worry about it. And I don't talk about it a lot. Josh knows because I have all my it sounds very neurotic, but I had like rules for myself at certain gestations where I just like am nervous to provoke labor. It's because of Levi. I don't know why. Like having him at 37 and 2 like freaked me out. It felt early. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do what I can to do all the opposite of what people say to induce labor. And
Hmm.
I just won't do any of those things and hopefully and it worked with Colty, worked, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Um but then yeah, again, like you said, you don't do anything. There's nothing that you do. Your baby is just gonna come when it's their
When he
time.
or she
Yeah.
comes, yep. And I like if you think about Kristen who had Reese at like almost
42
42 weeks,
weeks.
and she's
Yeah.
like, I literally tried everything that you could to make that baby come, and
Mhm.
it just she didn't. And it's
Mhm.
you can you feel like you because if you hear about, oh, just try this and your baby will come tomorrow,
Yeah.
just do this,
Yeah.
or like go get like, and there's not always there's not always a lot of truth and scientific evidence in those things. Like, it might
Mhm.
work for some people or a lot of people, but I don't know. I feel like there's like a mom. I don't. I don't want to say this in a bad way, but moms almost have a way of guilting other moms into or
Mhm.
shaming in a way that we need to like stop and work on our wording
Yeah.
a little better.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even I don't know, like you say wording, but sometimes I think it's people's heart and people's pride and all those things get entangled into it. Unfortunately, I mean we're human beings. So
Yeah, we're
it's
all
very
flawed.
easy.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very easy to I think get on your high horse and be like, "Oh, well this worked for me. Like why isn't it working for you? You must not be doing it right. You must be, you know what I mean?"
Isn't that, and it's so, we have to, I think, as, I try my best not to do things like that, but I've absolutely been like, well, I've never had that issue, so I don't understand why they do, like,
Mhm.
it just happens like that sometimes. But, um,
Gosh, we could make a whole episode about this, Sarah, because I feel very strongly about people passing judgment on moms on in so many different facets of motherhood. I would love to
mhm.
just rant about the judgmental things I have heard people say. Um,
And we need to stop. It makes me so upset
yeah,
because I'll even know some of these people and be like, that, you are a genuinely typical, like, nice person, but when you say that, it like, doesn't make, I don't think it's going to make anybody feel good.
yeah. I think
Um,
there's a very big difference between telling people what is good, like, hey, like this is good for your kid, and telling them if you don't do that way, then you're wrong.
right.
Or if whatever. Anyways, I don't want to get too far into it, but it's something that drives me crazy when people will judge moms, judge their kids, and you just have never walked in their shoes, my
So
friend.
when it
So.
comes to giving birth, and a lot of people get like, I had a C-section with my first. Andy, was induced at whatever, didn't want to come. She was in fetal
Mhm.
distress, so we had to do a C-section. And, at the time it was all scary, but it ended up being fine. But
Mhm.
I never felt any shame towards having a C-section and not feeling like it
Mhm.
was real birth. I definitely I was disappointed, but I see a lot of other C-section moms almost defend the fact that they've given birth. And I'm like, of course you have. Like, who's telling you you haven't? Like, who's telling
Yeah.
you that you
Mhm.
being cut open was the easy way out? Like,
Mhm.
who is telling you that you must have did something to make that happen? Like, or so,
Oh yeah, man, that would make me so angry.
but I know that people have, oh, you must have done something like, I don't know, or like something's wrong with you to make you have not been able to have a natural birth or whatever. It's just so many things are out of your control. They're just
Mm-hmm.
out of your control. And the whole goal is to have a healthy, safe baby. And sometimes your envision of how they get here is different than what you wanted. But regardless,
Yeah.
I know that, um, so whoever is feeling like C-section isn't a real birth is just, don't ever listen to that. Most people
Please
do
don't.
not feel that way at all. And there's so
Yeah.
many C-section mamas out there. Like, we have endured something unique and different and hard, and
Absolutely.
still special. And you can still have a special birth experience
Mm-hmm.
via C-section for some people. So, and I feel very blessed that I was able to have a VBAC, and
Yeah.
that I was able to experience both. And it was just, um, God, that was magical too. And I want everybody to, I just wish everybody could have a birth experience that they want, because it really does, it really is amazing. Um, but it doesn't always happen. It,
Yeah.
it is so, it is such a miracle to have a healthy baby, like from beginning to
Oh
end.
yeah. I think
And,
every mom
yeah.
after they have their baby should feel this just absolutely like primal adrenaline rush of like, look what I just did. I don't care how
Mhm.
that baby came out of you. You should feel on cloud nine because
Mhm.
you literally just did the most miraculous thing that a human being can do. You know?
Yeah, you just grew that baby for however long in your body. Like,
Yeah.
that is just so unreal that these little children we have running around just grew and grew and grew inside of us. And then we just either shot them out our vag or got us, or they just ripped us open and pulled her out. Like,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
That's
It's nuts.
insane.
I
You
know.
should literally be like, you should think you are freaking, what are those things, triathlons, like Iron Man? You should think you're an Iron Man. You should
Yeah.
think you are an Olympic champion.
Mm-hmm.
You are above the Olympic champions. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just really like, I can think back distinctly after every kid and like thinking, I'm so sorry for my language, but holy shit, I am awesome.
Yeah, and you should
I
feel
just
that way.
made this thing. This
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. Oh my golly. And obviously, you're full of all the hormones, oxytocin and stuff is pumping.
Yeah.
So you just, I don't know. But man, I wish that I hope that every woman feels so powerful and amazing that they brought life into the world after they give birth, because they should.
Yeah. And it is
I
special
know,
no
I
matter
know
how you
that
do it.
obviously this is a very blessed perspective because they're, not all birth stories end in a happy ending.
No, they
Um,
don't. And hopefully, not hopefully, but um I would love to have another mom who, one of the NICU mama warriors out there, um, on here, because
yeah.
I have recently realized that any hospital stay, no matter if it's a day or months, it's just too
Mhm.
long.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, that brings on a whole other level of trauma, but, we'll have to get on there. But I do have to go back inside and try to celebrate my
Oh, Sarah,
child's
we
day
have to
of
talk about
birth.
your birthdays.
Oh, my, I know. I feel bad. I feel like,
Okay, we can totally do another episode and we can just
let's
talk
do
about your
another
birth story.
episode
I
of
think that's a
mine.
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be
Yeah.
Sarah's birth stories episode.
Yes. And I think that this was a great one. Cause I wanted to get all those details out there of yours. Cause I
Yeah.
think it's incredible what you can do. But okay. I'm sorry. I have to see,
No,
this
go
is the hard
celebrate
part.
Andy. I'm
Yes.
so happy that you get to celebrate her, and three is a big girl, you know?
I know.
Man,
Yeah, it was
growing.
wild, but we'll do a TBD and we'll share all my from beginning to end on both of them, because I'd love to do that, because I think I share um there's a lot of moms out there who had to, I don't know. We'll get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
thank you for
Okay.
being on here with me.
Of
Everybody,
course.
thanks for listening. We appreciate you. And please, like, if you are listening and you're like, I would really love them to talk about such and such, shoot us a message, or me or Danny or Grace, whatever. And we would love to just hit on any topic that people are interested in hearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody have a wonderful rest of their day with whatever you're doing, but we will see you next week.
Sounds good. Love you,
Mwah.
Sarah.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.